Hello, everybody. I wanted to show you a little exercise that you can do for practicing your painting skills. So I have something special for everybody tonight for all of my fans that are educators and that are more advanced nail techs. I wanted to share something, just a little design that I came up with to kind of help you build shadows and highlights and practice your paintings. I hope you're going to like it. So you're going to need a nail tip, and the design is going to be with Gelish gel polish. So soak off gel. Hello, Tracy. So I'm going to create with blue colors this time. I just posted on Instagram too. We did these corally colors. So if you want to go over there, it's on my stories. So after that, I'm going to post both of them to the YouTube channel. So you'll be able to see it after that. But I'm going to leave today's demo on my Facebook page. So the colors I have are Water Baby, No Filter Needed, Blue Eyed Beauty, and I have Pumps or Cowboy Boots. So I have a little darker color, and also Arctic Freeze. And you'll need foundation, base gel, or any kind of clear gel that you want. Hey, Maria. Hello, Michelle. Awesome. So you'll need a little bit of cleanser, too, for the blending, and a Dappen dish. The brushes I have a Gelish comb brush. All these brushes are available at Nail Tech Supply, so you can get them there. And the mini gel striper and the micro striper. So that's the brushes I'm going to use. So we have our nail tip. You want to buff the shine off the surface. And I'm going to start with one layer of Water Baby, so it's pastel blue. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me. And if you get a chance to try this design, you can send me a picture. I'd love to see. So we start with just a thin layer. Okay, and then we'll cure that for 30 seconds. So while that's curing, I'm going to put colors out on my palette. And I have Making Waves. And then to do the highlights, I have just a little bit of Arctic Freeze. So you see I have just 4 different blue tones. And I have a little foundation just to refresh the color. And a couple drops of cleanser. So now I'm going to do a little gradient. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. For But this is a long tip, so I can't zoom too much. Let's see. Works with other brands. Sorry, I'm back. Sorry, technical break. Oh, we have a question. Does it work with other brands? Yes, definitely. You can use any brand. So you just want to make sure that you have colors that are complementary to each other. So you can see I did with like reds and corals and oranges. So I think the important thing is just that the colors are really similar to each other. So we have our first layer. Sorry. Make sure we can see. Okay, so now I have Blue-Eyed Beauty. And I'm just going to go around the edges, so put a little bit of this darker blue on the top and on the bottom. And then cleanser, comb brush, touch to the paper. And we can just press up and down to blend. The brush holder. I will come back and post in the comments where I got the brush holder from because I can't remember right now. But it was in the US, so it won't be too hard to get. It's one of 2 places, but I have to check. But yes, I love my brush holder too. So we'll blend the color on both sides. You can also use a little bit of your foundation gel to help with the blending. Okay, and then we'll flash cure that. So just cure for 10-15 seconds. And I'll add a little bit more of the no filter needed. Mix it with Top It Off, or foundation, whatever your clear gel is. We can add that color. So then to blend, you just press up and down on the border between the colors. Hello, Kathleen. Hello, Lori. Hello, everybody. So nice to see you all with me tonight. Okay. Yeah, Michelle, you can turn the client's hand. So usually what I do with the clients is I do everything, like for me that's on the right side, apply everywhere. And then let's say the blending is easier on the left side with the client facing you. So I do everything on the left side. Then I can just turn their hand around once and do everything that's on the other side. So we can do this with clients as well, actually. So now I have the Artform gel paint. So we're going to use that now to sketch the petals. Let's see. So we're going to sketch these petal shapes with some dark color. Doesn't really matter. It can be brown, it can be gray. Actually, I have some blues, so I'm going to use these colors. Take a little bit of white, so I have something to work in the center where the petal's lighter. This is just an eyeshadow palette. I got it on AliExpress. So I just mix a few colors with the gel paint. Let's see, we'll add a little bit of black too. Okay, so I'm going to start now by just drawing in the petals. So start in the center. We start with 4. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. So in these 4 corners around the light part of the flower. So we'll start with that. Okay, so now we have our first 4 petals. Now we're going to do petals that are in between. So here's the first 2. We do 1 in between, another 2, 1 in between. So you can just start with the top and connect to the 2 sides. And you just keep going towards the center. And then we'll do 2 more. So 1 here. And then 1 more little one. So now this will be the center. This will be the dark area. So now we have the center petals. So now we'll just outline some petals in the darker area. And for that, I'll use dark blue, almost black. So I think this is the most difficult part, is sketching the flower and deciding where your petals are going to go. After that, these lines are just a guide for where we can place the shadows and the highlights. Then before you cure, you can just go back around one more time, check, make sure that all your lines are clean, that they're smooth, and that they continue. This is what's nice about working with gel paint, is it doesn't dry until you cure it. Okay, so when you're ready with your sketch, you can cure that for 30 seconds. So we're going to fully cure it. So now we just use those sketch lines as guides for where we put the darker color, and then each petal is going to have a graduation between the dark part of the petal all the way to the lighter edge. So it really just depends on you what kind of colors you want to use. So you can use anything that's complementary, or I really like to use neons for this effect. But you basically just need some dark color and a light color and something in between. So it's really, you have a lot of different choices what you want to use. So I'm going to mix my color with Top It Off. So you see on the nail we have the light blue petals, the medium colors, and then we have some darker colors along the top. So for the light blue petals, the shadow color for that will be this French blue, which is Blue Eyed Beauty. So we start by shading the petals with this color. So I'm using the mini gel striper, and I'm just coloring in the center of all the light blue petals. So the shape of the shadow is kind of an oval shape. So I just apply the color, press up and down. So the petals that are on the upper level, the shadow is going to have a small little gap along the two sides. The petals that are underneath, the shadow will go all the way out to the sides. So after you apply your color, you can just press up and down and blend. So you can turn the nail tip this way, or you can turn your brush around. You can also press this way. You just have to make sure that your brush is parallel with the nail tip. So whatever's more comfortable for you. And on the other side. So we always want to start with small contrasting colors and then work our way up to the darker colors. So anytime you can flash cure. So the flash curing is like 10 or 15 seconds. Then we just move on to the center. I just paint the shadow in the shape of an oval, clean my brush, and then blend. So I push the shadow out to the contour and then bring it towards the top, clean my brush, press up and down to blend. Sorry, I had a hair there on the nail. Oh, okay. Okay. Flash cure. So everything looks really light right now, but you'll see as we keep adding the darker colors, we'll gain the intensity, but we always have to start with soft colors at first. So now I take Making Waves. So the proportion's about, it's about 50-50. So half color, half top coat. And then the parts of the petals that are darker blue, I can use this color for the shadow. So I'll start on the bottom. So push around the contour and then blend. So if we have one petal here, the shadow goes on the other side of the upper edge. So this is one upper edge, this is another upper edge, and then the shadow goes behind. So we just press up and down on the border to blend the color. And flash cure anytime, especially when you get towards the center, because you need to be able to press to do your blending. So if you don't flash cure the edges, when you go to press the petals in the center, you'll touch the blending on here. So as I move towards the middle, I always flash cure for a little bit. You can add a little bit more color. We can add dark color to the top. So this will be the shadow of this petal. So the shape of the petal is, or the shape of the shadow is an oval. So we draw the oval with the dark color, then clean your brush and blend on the edges. And you can also use a little bit of cleanser on your brush. It helps a lot with the blue color because the blue color is really strong. So the cleanser helps the blend. So now I have lots of color. So now I want to add black shadow, which is black. And so now we're going to start to add more shadows and some of the darker shadows. So I have the micro striper brush. So here's the center of the flower. As you can see, the dark center. So I'm just going to use black shadow and the micro striper brush. So it's not mixed with any clear. I'm just going to use the pure black shadow just to make this dark area. So I take the product, push it to the contour line. When you're painting with gel polish, you have to have a place on your glove because the gel polish is a little bit fluidy, so it builds a bead on the brush. So you will notice if you have too much product on the micro striper, because the micro striper is so tiny, if you have too much, it makes a little bead. So I just touch to my glove so I have a place to get rid of the excess. One side and the other. So we're going to fill in this whole center. So nice to see everybody joining me. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And I'm going to save this video so you'll be able to watch back and try. So what I'd recommend is, for now, just try and draw the flower on paper if you want while you're watching me right now. But then you can replay again while you practice. And I would love to see your practices. So send me a private message if you get a chance to try this design. Okay, so we have the dark area filled in. Now we can cure. So again, curing time 30 seconds. So now I'm just going to just repeat the shadows and intensify them and do any corrections with the same group of colors. So there's really no rhyme or reason right now. We have all the necessary shadows. Now we're just cleaning them up. So now we're just going to refine them. So the order's up to you now. So you can work with the full strength color, you can work with the diluted color. So I always check through my phone, even when I'm not doing this live video, because the phone gives you a different view than what you can see with your eyes. So I really recommend when you're practicing to use your phone as a reference, because it helps you see if your blending's good. And then as I go along, I'm going to flash cure just to hold everything in place. So now I can take black shadow and mix it with the darker blue. And in a few places, I can add the darkest shadow to the edges. Because now we have this dark center, so it kind of pulls everything so that we can understand where the shadows are. So now we need a balance of the dark shadows along the edges. So as I said before, it doesn't have to be everywhere, but in a balanced way. So there has to be some dark shadows on all parts, on like all four corners around the perimeter. So cleanser paper, and then press up and down to blend. You can always come in with your lighter blue if you want to add some more light color. Okay, so once you checked everything's blended, then you can cure. So now we're going to add a few little highlights just to the upper edges of some of the petals. So I have Arctic Freeze, and we mix it with a little bit of Top It Off in the blue. So we make kind of a pastel blue. And then that color just goes on the upper edge. So as you guys can see, the more petals that you create, the more of an exercise this is going to be. So, but on clients, it's really nice even if you just did 3 or 4, or just the center part of the flower. But it's a really good exercise for you to practice the shading and to see how the flower becomes 3D by adding the darker and the lighter colors. So I wanted to show something a little bit, for people that have been studying a lot and have been practicing. I wanted to show you a little exercise to kind of challenge yourself. So this isn't really like a salon design. It's more of an exercise that you can make into an interesting sample to show your clients when we can go back to work. So press up and down. So working with really small amounts now. And mostly on the center petals. You can apply the color with the mini gel striper, and then you can use the micro striper anytime that you want to refine your lines. So is anybody painting with me, or are you just watching? I'm just kind of curious, because I know I just was on Instagram too, so... Usually, because I'm trying to promote both of my pages, so usually I'm going to go live on Instagram and then over here on the same day. So if you want to start studying with me through these lives, you can watch on Instagram once, and then you can get your colors together, and you can do the design with me on Facebook. That's a good idea. And I just check. So I'm checking my design, and I'm checking that you can see it. So bear with me. So to do the blending, I use combination of cleanser, I mean, not mixing them together, but if I have a lot of pigment to remove, I use cleanser, but if it's just a little bit and I just need to smooth it, I use top coat. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I'm sorry, no. I use foundation because we're in a crisis and I have to save my Top It Off. So you can use any clear gel, but this time I'm using foundation because I have a lot of it. So if I say top coat, that's because that's my preference, but we all have to make sacrifices right now. Okay, so flash cure. Hey, Maria. Yeah, it's okay. You can still practice and send me your practices, and if any questions come up while you're practicing, you can message me. But I'm going to try to continue doing these tutorials for everybody. So that's the format. If you notice, I'm having a tutorial day that's going to be first on Instagram and then over here. Hi, Angela. Good to see you. So just going back and adding little highlights before I cure. I will do one more on this upper petal. So I take the mini gel striper, I push the gel polish to the contour, stretch it to the side. I'm doing good, Angela. I'm just keeping myself busy. Our salon is closed till May 15th. We're ordered by the state to stay home. So it's been fun, though. I've been able to teach people new things. Okay, so once we have everything in place, just check the blending. Okay, so now the full cure time is 30 seconds. So now we've got a choice between matte top it off or glossy top it off. I think I'm going to go for matte this time. But you can see it looks nice with glossy too. But I like matte a little bit more. That's your choice. So we always have to fully cure the base before we seal it with any top gel. Do you guys like this design? What do you think? Do you think it's something that you can practice? Let me know what you think. There's always a lot of like beginner level nail art given out for free on social media. So I wanted to share something. It's a little bit more difficult because I think sometimes people on the intermediate and the advanced level get a little bit left out on the tutorials sometimes. So it's always fun to challenge yourself. And even if you're a beginner, I don't think this is really too difficult. I mean, the shapes are pretty simple. The more petals you do, the more complicated it is. So if it's really difficult for you, you can just start by the first 4 that I did and shade them and highlight them. So I think it's a good kind of intermediate design because it helps us understand how the colors mix together and what effect they have when they're next to each other. Okay, so we have our matte top it off. Now we have to cleanse. So matte top it off is obviously a matte with a sticky layer. So we cleanse the surface. And now the last step is art form. So I use the Essentials White. And the micro striper brush. And you can see we just add some fine lines to the upper edge of the petals. You can start in the center, start on the sides. Totally up to you. So just concentrate on the upper edge of the petals. And then just taper it down to the side. And you can vary your lines a little bit, have some kind of thicker areas and thinner areas. Just make sure they're not all thick areas. So you have to have a variation. So I think the white lines really make everything pop on the end. But just make sure that the white lines only go where you had the pale blue color. So just keep going around. Yes, Michelle, definitely. It sharpens the whole thing. Because we have to remember with nail art, we're painting in miniature. So nail art is viewed from really far away. It's on somebody's hands. And so you have to have a lot of definition where everything is too blurry. Okay, so the full curing time now is 30 seconds. And since the Artform gel doesn't have a sticky layer, we don't have to put any top coat after. Or you can if you want. So always clean my brush and bring it back to a point. I put my brush in the clear gel. Clean off the excess on the paper. So I always keep clear gel in the brush. So make sure before you put it away that you clean your brush really well. Okay, so now our design's ready. I think it's your turn now if you want to practice tonight, or you can practice anytime. I think we all have a lot of free time on our hands. So like I said, I would love to see your results if you get a chance to try it. It's nice with other colors too. You can use yellow and orange. I used All About the Pout and Neon Orange. This is the demo from Instagram. So this one will be on the YouTube channel really soon. It also works with neon green, pinks, purples, and I did another like a darker orange one. So have fun, experiment, try different colors. I'd love to see it. If you share it on your social media, you can tag me so I can see. If you want critique about your work, you can send me a message and I'll be happy to give it to you. And thank you again for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Yuko, yeah, you need gel paint to do the sketch. If you don't have gel paint, another way is you can sketch with a mechanical pencil. I can't believe I don't have one right here. So you can use... So if you don't have gel paint to do the sketch lines, you can just take a mechanical pencil and sketch directly on the nail. So you can do that too. But definitely, because gel polish is too runny to do the initial sketch lines with. So you need either gel paint or a mechanical pencil. After you get the initial sketch in place, then you can do your shadows with more watery colors, and it will work out. So give it a try, and I'm here to help, and thank you again for watching. Everybody have a good evening.